So you can see. You can see. Have you ever noticed certain things in Alice in Wonderland? When he was blowing the circles, he created that ring in his mouth. When it came out, it was one. But in his mouth, it wasn't one. It was a line that came into his mouth. It curled around inside his mouth, and he carefully let out the air. The drag of the toilet going like this, and down at the other side going like this, is because when it comes into the world, it screws its way in. When you screw your way in, you don't push the air. When you don't push the air, you're not pushing the air. You'd be pushing, like taking a board and pushing it in front of you. You'd be pushing everything. It would be hard to come in. If you drink and you don't let out the air, it doesn't go down. In this world, we divide the air. Because if God pushed everything down on us, we'd fall down. So they turn it in. And they turn it in further, and then it keeps turning. But it doesn't go any further down. It keeps ending every time it hits the earth. It goes back up. It spreads out. I'm not really in any talking mood, because I talked too much today. I wrote a lot yesterday. Oh, Merry Christmas, by the way. You see, December 25th falls after the 21st of the Mayan calendar. The 20th would be one day before the 21st. That means it would be the Eve. You can't touch Eve. You can't have supper on Eve's night. Because the two hands of the clock touch, bringing both days together. So if it's the end of the day, it starts at the end. There's no shaking hands. That means the players that played are upset at each other. So Christ has his Last Supper, one of his two Last Suppers, on the 19th of September. It's a Wednesday. 4 days back, 4 days forward, Saturday and Sunday. 8 days a week on one day, 389. The moon, part of its cycle, has to do with Wednesday. Jumping over Wednesday, both ways. Because Wednesday's where the train is. Number 14. The train is also on number 5, or known as 6. This is another train. So that means, in order to be one day before and one day after, touching the Eve but not being on the Eve, he would have to have his Last Supper on the 19th. Plus 12 days is the end of the year, the 12 days of Christmas. The reason they sang the song from his birthday to 12 days of Christmas would be the 7th of January, and that's wrong. Just like everything else is wrong. I mean, according to that, right? That means Jesus should have been born on the 7th of January. 12 plus. Unless he was one of the dice, that would make the 3rd of January. Whatever it is, regardless, the Mayan calendar and his calendar separate. They go on their own routes now. The Mayan are coming here to lead the numbers of the rebuilding of the earth. And the Christ came here to open the earth and make the earth larger for man, his mind. Christ also came because of the latter-day saints. As the saints go marching in, the saints are numbers and letters and shapes and dots. And those are what the shapes are. Don't forget Morse code. Morse the cat. Somewhat near 5 or 6 days now. But this is the first day that has begun on the 6th, which is the reverse of my birthday for it, to make it a 10-10 on the 10th month of 2012 at 2:13 in the morning. 6 days since I'm like this. It's almost like somebody's typing something into my head, and as I think, the vibrations come out and I get the answer. Wherever I think, then I'll be able to go and get and know something about it. And all I have to know is the word, because If you only tell me one word, I only can figure out how the word came to be. Don't forget, the words above the line, the letter, below the line, the letter. On the left bend, the right bend. The R has the circle on the top, the P has the circle on the top, the O has the whole circle where the circle of the P and the R can go in order for them to live light. 16, 18, 34, 3 and 4 is 7. 18 is Reish, one spirit, 8 times 45 around gives you the 360 degrees, the story of your life. So Jesus, actuality, spent a whole year that ended last year in 2011 and had the Last Supper during Christmas, his first Last Supper for the last year, because in this year, his birthday misses by 4 days. But by having the supper on the 19th, he misses by 6 days. He is the man of 3 and 3 creation. 3 and 3 is 6. The odds in crap is 8 to 1, which is the heaven. It also is the same for 6. 6 and 8 is of the heaven, and that's this year. All the numbers of craps fall into line. The moon falls into the line. 19 by 19, 360 degrees plus 1. The moon cycle, 57, 57, the name of the moon, and the 19 of the moon, 3 by 19 is 57. 3 by 38, which is the pig's pregnancy. 333 of Christ. Connects to 3 to 3 to 3 to 3. And all the returns. 12 and 9, 21. The stop sign has one calculation, 10 and 9, because the 0 is there. It means they went around. The only reason the 0 is on the phone is because they went around once. 0 states we're starting again at 1. So 1 is actually 10. 2 is 11. 3 is 12. 4 is 13. 4 is everything. 13, 1 and 3 is 4. 1 next to 3, very close, makes the B. You take out the line in the B because it is the connection between the two sides, because the B drops 1 level. Rubik's Cube level 2B, center spot 5, 25, 52, 77 of Christ, and the Mayan count of 25,000, 625. One of the ways to get the Mayan count, and there are many, many ways, is to go to free parking from go. You're 20 from 20 and 10 from 10. One of the 10 will send you to jail. The other one will make you visit in jail. 20 and 20 makes 40. That is the game. Free parking is on the 21st number, locked. Plus the 20 to get there in the dice, you have 41. If you go from go, 41 around the board, you end up on the Mediterranean for the only time you can get there, because starting on go with 2 dice, you have to go 2 or more. The board crosses between jail and go to jail, between free parking and parking. Between one train track, B&O and Reading, to another train track of short line in Pennsylvania, the freedom of all. Each one meets at the center 5, so you make 1 line. 5, 1 line, 5, 1 line, 5, 1 line, 5. Now you connected all the corners, you got to the Mediterranean, now you're living in between the Mediterranean and Connecticut. That's your Connecticut, that's your setup. (41) times the lines, and each line is 5, because when you pull the dot to the center, all numbers come to the value and then re-multiplied by the number of areas that went to the center. The total that went to the center was 40. Center is 5, making 45. 9 times 5 is 45. FOX, Fox. Center is 5. 4 lines, don't count the center and the crossing, it is the way it is. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. Times 5 is 625. Times the 41 that it took you to make the board, you have to go to boardwalk and back 20 from one way. And then you went the other way and built the other triangle to make the square 20. So the complete board is 41. 41 by 625 equals the Mayan count of 25,625. Christ's Last Supper on the 19th. Wouldn't he have wanted to eat and come back to the original family he was with before it all started? Wouldn't his Last Supper have been last week? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur? When the world goes around and comes around, there's a gap that we don't know about. So that means if Jesus comes now, and he stays into the end of the year, he's going to reconnect January again in the gap between the old world and the conscious world of New World Order. When something is mentioned on the ground because it is happening in the air, and it's happening fast, and it's going to happen for us too. Merry Christmas. Christmas actually came on Rosh Hashanah this year for Jesus, because he couldn't sit with anybody, because in the new calendar, nobody exists. We are all in the Hebrew calendar. In 2007, on the 7th of July, was a Saturday of the 7th of the 7th, was the first time ever that 007 was able to come into the beta world. 007. 5 years, 5 months later from July, to August, to September, to October, to November, to December. 5 years, 5 months. Five years, 5 months, 14 days. Divide 14 in half at 77, 7557, EGGE, 2 years from now, the Hebrew calendar will meet that same number, in which there will be 75,075 moons. I'm not counting the extra time, 1.25 from 364, the Indians. We count it separately. It's like breaking down the change in your pocket. We have a $5 bill, but we don't know how we got it. So if we have the change, we can at least check one of the dollars to match up with the rest of the dollars. So we'll know by what we're missing, but it takes some change to make it up from somewhere in between. Whatever was in between is what the cost was. On October 4th, it marked the 278th day of the year. $354 days to the 19th. 354, 345. 4 over 3, 3 over 4 equals 101. Thinking. 3 and 4. 3, 4, 5. 3 over 4 is 4 over 3, so the first two numbers are opposite to each other, and the 5 is the EPAS, the electronic mind, in alignment. 3, 4, 5 says 3 starts first. If 3 starts first, and the end position, which is the end like this, because one goes up, one goes down, 14. The end must pass from somewhere, so when there's a division or a separation in something, instead of putting a space, you put a circle. And in that circle would go the end. The circle is valued at 50. The end, 14. N-O-O-N. We started at 3. 4 was the opposition, so right away you put a dot. The one spirit of 4, the letter N, that lets you run down to the other side of the 3 and 3 dice. It puts a mark there. 3.14. Then the O where it passes through, or the water, is the 15th, is 1.5. Now once you got the water, you need the birth in the 2 house. In the center, in the 2 house, the 9 birth. So you have 9.2. And from the birth, from the 9.2, you get 6.5. Why do you get 6.5? Because that's the highest you can get on the dice, and it makes 11. Both of them, if you reverse them, equal 121 and equal 1111. At the same time, the numbers, what I just used, is 3.14159265. 3.14159265. 10. 1 on one side and 9 on the other. These are the first 9 numbers of pi. Go look up pi, study what I told you, and understand that's the way it is. I don't want to say that it is because I'm telling you. It is because the numbers say it, not me. I did bring up the situation, but if you brought up the situation, I would have to show you the story. So I made up a story with the situation, and now you listen to it. There are other ways, because there's many ways to bake a cake, and there's many cakes and many different kinds of cakes that you can bake. Many types of icing you can put on. Many types of sugar and sweets and salts and a little bit of cinnamon sticks. So, approximately 76 days. 76 days. No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Wow, I don't know how I did that. Because the elections are on the 7th, I think, but the eve is on the 6th. It says 76. So funny. In September, 11th month, 7 days, 7/11. 11 equals 2, 7 and 2. The gates, announcing the gates. There's going to be a change. The same nights of the election, there's going to be something weird. Something weird's got to happen on that night. The day before would be the eve. Usually it happens before, that doesn't happen at all. So that would be the 5th, because you can't touch the 6th. So 6 is 1 away. You have 2 dice. You have to take 1 and 1 and go 2. You don't throw the dice in my game. I play them in my head. I use what's in order. The 1, the 3, the 5. 5, the 3, the 1. 27 and 7 is 34. There are 34 days. Excuse me? Not anymore. There is 25 days and 7. There are 32 days to the election. 32. From 5, because 3 and 2 is 5, so you have to know where you went from, what family you're in, is 37, the Christ. 32 brings back your alphabet to E and E. E and F. It's E and F you get, because 1 before, 1 after. F is the sound of F, and now it's original, because E fell before it. F connects 2 and 2, 4. The passage from above, the 4 corners of the earth. See, the passage from above is actually the passage from below and above, because it's the spirit, the energy from above that allows for the below to happen. You're not under the water going, whoa, and trying to run your mechanics. You insulate everything. You control from upstairs from another planet, Saturn, Jupiter. 32 days, 3 and 2 is 5. 32 degrees is 0 Celsius. Another hole. 0 and 5. You got the 2 trains. 0, 5, 0, 5. 5 brings you to the next corner. Now you got Joe. Oh my God, this is so huge. Huge. You think. And when you think, you squeeze the information. You squeeze that water out so the information doesn't float in your brain. And you squeeze it out with the foods that you eat to give you the energy. Then when you have to go to the bathroom, one is more dry and slidey with the oil, because you have to slide that information around. And you need a little bit of water to break it up, see the information, you put it back together, just like when you eat it, you go to the bathroom, you shit it out, and you gain from the knowledge. You stand up, you sit down, you stand up, you sit down. If you never sit down, your ass is always closed, so you're going to have shit between your legs. That's why when you sit down to think, you spread your legs open, and you think. And you only push when you need to, because you're thinking. Otherwise, what are you going to do there? Look down, look in? No, we're always thinking on the bowl. They cut our hair. It's Three Stooges. They put a bowl over your head, you go to the bathroom, you sit on the bowl, and now you're thinking. So now you got your head where your ass is with the same bowl. Raphael, 7286. If you have any questions, you want to know about the 19 by 19, 360-year cycle of the moon, you want to hear about the 57, you want to hear about the 1 and 1/4, 1 and 1/2 turn in the day of the cycles of the matrix by time. Everybody knows every 5 minutes. Everybody knows it's every 5 minutes and every 2.5 minutes. Because the center is actually 2.5. If you're splitting half to one end, half to the other end, center becomes 2.5. 49 is eternal. So in this world, you need to put 10 and turn it the other way, becomes 940. 2 times 940 is 1880. Plus 470 makes 2350. If you remove the 1010 of God, it becomes 2250. And that's when Moses was born. Between either it's 2250 or 2350, but 2350 says creation, and 2250 says life. The 50 says the passage in. So that would say I have to go back 100 years, because we're always using the two worlds. 1010, 1010, 100, 200, bicentennial. And then the one in the middle, it's by 25s, X and O. X is 10, O is 15. X is 10 in Roman numerals. O is 15 in the English alphabet. The Latter-day Saints came along in our alphabets. When I type and I'm writing very large, it's because I'm expressing very much and I feel so strong to get it out. But you look at it and you don't want to read it. Because you're mad at me, because you think I'm sort of like throwing things at you. But I'm not. I'm expressing myself. I need to see the big letters because the information is large. It's larger than any story that's ever been written before. From someone who knows very little. It has never been written before, because nobody writes with my fingers but me. If they have written something before, then I've taken something from them. I guess I figured it out. Most people sit down when they go to the toilet. I must have copied everybody. Most people throw a dice and has 6 sides to it. I must have copied everybody. There's the 7th inning stretch in the game, which brings up 7 innings and 6 innings to the other one. Well, that's 13, so that's unlucky, so I'm not supposed to talk about that either. So the first team had 7 innings, and that's lucky, that's a week, 21 outs, and you got blackjack, but they got no score. The other team went up. Home team comes to the 7th inning stretch, get into the dugout, turn around, look up at the scorecard that's square with all these things in it that I can probably put numbers. Although there's no score in the game, everybody says that's okay. I feel a little lucky. You know that? It's a game, it's a jeu. I wish, a jeu, wish, Jewish. It's a game. It includes me and I and you and them. And if it includes them, then you're one of them. And I'm one of I, and you and me were playing the game. So the player looks up when he sees the other team, 21 outs. He says, well, they got blackjack. That's not bad. All we got is 18. So the guy stands up. He goes 666. He says, holy fuck, yeah, you're right. 6 innings, 18 outs. 3 innings and 3 innings, broken up to 6, broken it up by 9 and 9, 18 Chai. The letter I and I, me and God. Now they got 3 extra innings to go. They know they can create because that's the creation of the Christ. (21) and 18 is 39. 3 by 3 is 9. It's the creation corner of man. 3, 6, 9, Earth, Saturn, and Pluto to play. 39. 13, 13, 13. Not bad. Now, add the 13 innings. 7 and 6. You have 52. And that's the Mayan numbers. And 5 days a week and 2 days on the weekend. But wait a second. You also went up in the field 7 times. And now you got 21 blackjack and you put the other team out. So you must have had the winning cards. The other team came up 6 times and only made 18 outs. 21 beats 18. The home team is winning. 7th inning stretch. So if we add up the counts now, with 21 and 18 outs and 13 different kinds of innings and 13 innings in the field and 13 innings on the plate, 26 letters of the alphabet. 13 onto 52 is 65. 65 for one team, and it's 65 for the other team is 121, which is 11 times 11, 121, or 5 minutes before the hour on each side, which is 10. You live on the 12th, 1 and 2. You live on the 12th floor. Wow, I didn't know it. You live on the 12th floor. Oh, I never knew that. Well, going around the corner is the 21st Street. I'm not going to do this because it's going to go into New York City. New York City, number 19. Kentucky, number 21 and number 22. New York, number 19 and 20. 19 and 20 equals 39. New York is the same number as the 7th inning stretch, 21 and 18 outs. First, the property of New York is the 20th property. And when I take my 2 dice and go all the way around to get there, I have to roll 19. The total, 39. The 19th letter is S. The 19 cycles of the moon. 3 by 19 equals 57, which is the letter count for moon. 57 and 57 equals 114, which is creation of the Christ and the pregnancy of a pig. 3, 3, 3, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. We work on 30 days, not 31 days. Creation is 30 days. And the creation of the heaven, putting in the moon, is only 28 days, the month of February. Once they installed the moon, it took up more space. And instead of having 361 days a year and a quarter, we have now 365.25 days because of the information of the brain of all. The moon. No one has ever walked on the moon. No one has ever gone to the moon. No one has ever been on the moon. No one has ever been near the moon. All the visual satellites in the sky, they're all marked. They only let you see what they'll create for you to see. Just like being in another room and not even showing you what's in the sky. Because in the sky, when you get up high enough, you actually can't see the distance because of the elements of creation. Blur everything out. So they can only see so far. Mars, 2-letter initials, Martian, empty, empty can. Only worth something, I believe, maybe, in April, on April 1st, April Fool's Day. The reflection of man, 6. 4, being in the center world, as 2 up and 5 down equals the 3 creation. Or excuse me, let me use it this way. 4 up and 3 down equals 1. 3 up and 4 down equals 1. It's 101. Three and 1 is 4. 4 is already 4. 4 is opposite of 3. Now 4 connects to 3, like in the dice. And 4 is 101. What is it 101 to? It's 101 to Mercury and to Venus. The 4 is created by 1 and 7 overlapping the 7. The 7 is upside down to the 1, and it creates the 4. The lower world and the upper world connects at Mars. Mars is an empty can. It's 101. You can't go there, it's not yours. 1, 4, and 7 are all reserved. Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. They belong to the moon cycle. 4 by 7 is 28, 4 and 7 is 11. 11 by 11 is 121, which is May 1st, except on a leap year. It becomes April 30th, in which in a leap year, April 1st, which is April Fool's, becomes April 1st, the 92nd day, or the 29th day of February in the same year. 4th month, 92nd day, 96, April Fool's again. Man is born, 1906 is 54. Love, L-O-V-E, was 54. Of the 3, 4, 5 we talked about 10 minutes ago. And I can go on and on and on. I can tell you about the 7th inning stretch in hockey. Now, I didn't perfect this one yet, okay? But in hockey, the goalie sticks between the posts. He's number 3. He's the creator between the posts. He's got a him, the dot, and the 2 ends of the other one. He's number 3, but he's beta 2, east and west. All of the other players play north-south, because the goalie moves side to side. The people move up. So you have 5 players. 2 are defense. So 1 defense, 1 wing, and 1 forward skate up the ice, you get 3 points. The center guy passed it. The one that assisted first, second, passed it to the guy who scored. The one who assisted second received it from the one who passed it. There are 3. The other 2 are defense. 2 on the wing, 1 in the center. The bird is flying. If you pass it back, it's just like you ate something and shit it out. You got to start over again. So you're minusing and plussing. So it's whatever the plus counts about, not the passing it back. But you can pass it across and over, but not back. Otherwise, you're 5 on the ice that are on the board. 5, 1 goes back, remove it as 4. And then the one that it went back to is 3. So now you got 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. You have the 3-star selection because that's what I just told you. You pass it from right to left wing, and then the points towards the goalie to score the goal. 1 triangle, the other one the other way, and you have the Star of David. 2 red lines. When you're in center, that means God is on both sides of you, Alpha Omega protecting you, Omega Omega. Football, Moses, Noah, Abraham, Jacob, Christ, John, Job, Lucas. What's his name? What's his name, Lucas? What's his name? Lazarus? He sat at the end of the table in the Last Supper. He sat at the end of the table in the Last Supper. What is his name? Wow, I'm going to check it out on the internet. You don't mind if we do this slow? You remember the way it used to be for the people who followed me all the way or halfway or some way at one part, or you're right now watching this? Okay. I just looked up the 12 disciples and it's showing me basketball shoes, so I can tell you about basketball if you don't mind. But I'm not looking to talk about basketball. I want to see. There we go, the 12 disciples. Yeah, cool. Yeah, look at that. I don't have to scream at you, and I don't have to be loud, and
Where is his name again? Where is his name? Wow, isn't it so hard? Wow, this page is also available in Indonesia. Let's see, we make Luke and Mark and Matthew and Matthew and Luke and Matthew and Matthew. It says, who were the 12 apostles? And it's so hard to get. You know what? This internet is not set up properly. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm so wrong. I'm not set up properly. It's Judas Iscariot. Okay? This guy is number 12 apostle. He is the one spirit of the two creation that started the whole shit. Okay? He is 6 on the dice, and he is the 12th apostle. His name is repeated by the son of James. One is the son of I, one is the son of J, one is of 9, one is of 10. The 9 and the 12 make 21. Judas to James, J and J make 21, 42. So this means that you went into the world where you had to make decisions on your own, whether you had to cross your friends. And then when you go with James, well, James Dean tells it all. You don't cross anybody. You make it so it's fair, and your life is still 1 and 1. When you're 1 and 1, you're in shape. Simon was called the Zealot, number 10. Thus it means the one who has eaten 1 and 9, the first and last, creating the 10. James, the son of Alphasus. James, another one of 10 and 9, meaning he is a birth, okay, and he is illuminated by the Spirit, 1 and 9, also making the 10, but he is of the 1 and 9 and not the total of the 1 and 9. Then there is Thomas, Matthew, Philip, and John, who covers the 4 corners. James, 3 across from 4 on the dice. James and John, John and James. How do they fit together? What numbers on the cube are between them? And then Simon, who he named Peter. Peter and Simon, the 16th letter in the alphabet, and the 19th equals 35. 3 and 5 is 8. 35 is black. It is in the center. It is the mind. It is the dark mind, the one you can see where there's blindness. Nothing there. Inside a head that you can't see in. The blind mind. It also stands for standards and poors of all. He is the energy in with whom can ignite Andrew to James to John. If you add up 12 from 1 to 12, the total will equal 78. The G and H letter that is silent most of the time in the English alphabet, even in the word 8, E-I-G-H-T, because you ate and you were silent. E-I-E-I-O, 8, transmission from 2 worlds. You think, it goes up, it goes into your memory, it does what it has to do, and you get it back down however it does its thing, through the moon, through the earth. The air we breathe, screwing its way in all the time. Why is it screwing its way in? Because we're sort of in, how can you say it? It's like an apple. You know, you screw something into the ground to get it. Well, the matrix is all diamond-like, all little diamonds and diamond shapes, and they crisscross over each other, and sometimes it turns into strawberries and shit. When the stuff comes in, it can't. Sometimes you see there's a way to go in. You either go through or you wind around it. You wind around it and you don't pass through because you're not forcing the air in front of you. When you wind around it, you're winding and you're pulling yourself through the air instead of pushing the air, so you're not disturbing anything. So that's how you have to think. Raphael 7286. If you have any questions, I need to keep my mind in motion each day with duality in order for me to continuously the constants that I have. In order to learn, you must have a teacher in front of the class showing you something. We will learn it, we will go on. I need someone in front of my class asking me, telling me, asking me to work on something so we can figure something out. Then we can go on. We will say Merry Christmas a little early this year. Raphael 7286.